Hey guys, one of the questions I initially had when I was working with large language models was what are the various differences between all these models? And I also had some friends asking me about it. So I've done some research and I've also played around with these tools, and I noticed some differences that we could all sort of understand and leverage, and maybe that could help you do your next task better. You could use the right model for the right task and maybe get a 2x, 3x output out of it. So I'm going to start out with talking about one model called the Claude 3.7 Sonnet model. This model is one that was created by a company called Anthropic. And one of the cool things about this is that it is the best coding model. It is super popular when it comes to AI text editors like Cursor, Windsurf, Cloud Code, GitHub Copilot. And this coding model is great at making code edits, creating code. However, there are issues when it comes to context windows. If the context is large, then this model tends to hallucinate. So you really have to manage that. But other than that, just for small to medium sized projects, this coding model has been just great. And if you're interested in using like the consumer side of the application, which actually is quite impressive, it is able to draw diagrams, it is able to do flow charts, it is able to get you a lot of code as well, and it's a $20 pro plan. But you could also access this through the API. They also have something called the MCP support. MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, and it is a way for the AI to connect to external tools. For example, databases, you could scrap websites, so many more use cases for MCP that are coming up. It is still experimental, but I think it is something that a lot of developers are using currently to improve their workflows. One of the downsides is that Cloud is expensive as a model when it comes to the cost per million tokens as compared to other coding models. So I'd say that if you decide to use the API, then maybe you want to watch out for how much you're spending. There's also something that I want to bring up, which is the coding benchmarks. Typically, this is how I would compare, for example, the costs and the performance when it comes to code generation and code creation. You could find the benchmarks on AderChat, but I just took a screenshot and put them here, maybe to give you some idea. So yeah, these benchmarks show that this model is really good at programming and writing code for the most part. Some people use it for writing and find it to be really nice. I tried that and I think it's good. I think it's pretty good with writing, but my primary go-to for writing is ChatGPT. The next model I want to talk about is ChatGPT. This is by OpenAI. Most of you know this, and one of the things that most people may not know is that there is a lot of models, so it's kind of confusing. The website that you typically see when you go to chatgpt.com is the 4.0 mini, which is a smaller model. It's best at doing small tasks. For example, you want it to write you an email or format some texts, so forth. It's not great at like large amounts of text and context. For that, if you want, you could use the 4.0 model, which costs $20 a month in the consumer side of things. The API costs are also slightly on the higher end for 4.0, but it's much better when it comes to doing writing and generating content for you. It also has deep research, and what deep research is about is it can scour like 50 or 100 websites depending on your topic and get your summary, and this can save you hours of time when it comes to doing research. A lot of people have not tried deep research, I think, but it's a really cool capability. There's also something called reason in ChatGPT, and what reason is, it's simply a way for the model to ask itself questions and allow it to plan itself so that it can give you a much better response. The downside of reason is that it takes slightly longer when it comes to giving you an answer, but typically the answer is a lot more accurate and it's a lot higher when it comes to the quality. Um, 4.0 mini is also good with small code edits. I've tried doing one line edits on Cursor using it and it does great. ChatGPT 4.5 preview is something that just came out. It is supported in the $200 per month subscription, and it is by far one of the best large language models. It just blows everything out of the water when it comes to the performance. but it's super expensive. The price per million tokens is insanely high. There's also an additional capability that ChatGPT has called the Canvas. It also has web search, which Cloud does not have. The web search allows it to go through different websites, just like Google, and get you answers from sources versus just getting you an answer. So if you don't use the website option on ChatGPT, you will not get search results which are up to date in some cases. So it's best to use it if possible. Um, and also, there's one more thing: ChatGPT allows for image uploads, text generation, and with the $20 per month, you also get 720p of video, 720p quality of video generation powered by something called Sora. With the $200, I think you get the 1080p with 20 seconds of video, I think. And also, I just attached a screenshot of the benchmarks. You could see the O1 model is quite expensive. The accuracy is quite high as well. The O3 Mini High is also a good model. This the O3 Mini. You could check this out on the Ader benchmark. I'm going to talk about the Gemini model now. The Gemini model is known to have a large context window as compared to all the other large language models. Large context window, in simple terms, is being able to process a lot of words at once without hallucinating. And so it's able to take in up to 1 million tokens in the context. And this means that it can theoretically have about 800,000 words approximately when it comes to maintaining context when you're chatting with it or when it's doing text generation, code generation. So a lot of people are using it for things like reading large PDFs or like writing large essays. You could do a number of things with it. So you could think you could think of anything that would require like a large context being best if you use Gemini. And also, Gemini has one of the best coding models now. It's like second when it comes to the developer community sentiment. The code, the integration with Cursor and Windsurf currently doesn't seem to be the best, but once that's sorted out, I think the model will be more popular and I think more hard and like more usable when it comes to writing code. It's also multimodal. It has text generation, image generation, voice input. Most recently, Gemini Studio has something where you could share your screen and it can communicate with you. It's great. I think the API costs of Gemini, I was looking at it and it's quite cheap. Google's really trying to push it through so you can open an account on Google Studio and try it out. Seems like a great model. One of the other cool things, if you get the Gemini Pro, which is $19.99 a month, is that it has really good integrations with Google Docs, Slides, and Google Sheets. So you could maybe talk to your Google Sheets and get information about whatever data you have in your spreadsheet. There's also edits on Google Docs that it can help you with. It can, I think, also take your Google Doc and automatically generate slides based off that, which I think will save you a lot of time. Yeah, and the benchmark here from Ader shows it's pretty good with the edits and it's also correct a lot of times. So yeah, that's my comparison. I think overall, like Gemini is great at large context windows. ChatGPT is just, it's kind of like the middle ground, good for mostly everything. And most people find it good with everything. But if you're a programmer, I'd say, it's best to stick with Cloud to write a lot of code and you get, life will be a lot easier. Yeah, that's everything. There are also other large language models like Llama, DeepSeek, Quen, which I will review a lot later. I think maybe I can do that in the next video, but this is it. If you have any questions, you can let me know. You can put it in the comments. Thanks.